everybody. I'm Alastair, Global Client President at Wavemaker, and I'm joined today by Catherine Lautier from Danone.
Hi, Alastair. How are you today?
I'm good. Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you.
We're having a short, focused conversation, which means I've got two questions for you. First question was, in your career, which has been varied, so you started at P&G, I think. You spent a considerable amount of time in agencies, and now you're back on the client side. Can you describe the kind of biggest challenges you've had in your career and how you've overcome those?
So for me, the biggest challenge I had in my career was moving agency side after spending the first half of my career at P&G. And the reason for that is P&G, despite me working in diverse markets and sometimes in places where it was a bit more difficult to work as a woman, P&G always had such a strong culture and values that it made me feel like I was working in a safe environment and that I would be treated fairly. And so even when some interpersonal relationship could be difficult, I always knew my salary would be fair, I would be valued for my input as a woman, and it made it really safe. When I moved agency side, everything went out of the window. I was asked to dress a certain way for pitches. I was told I was there to be the woman, even though I had wrote the deck. I was paid unfairly. I witnessed a lot of sexual harassment, if not moral harassment in different forms. And it took me a lot of time to see how I could try to overcome that. And I don't think I ever really have. But I think there's two things that really helped me overcome it to a certain degree. The first thing is the way I was brought up. My dad always treated me the same way as he did my two older brothers. He always encouraged me to have my own ambitions and always made me feel like I deserved to be treated, the same way as men and have access to the same opportunities. He never showed how scared he was when I left the house when I was young, when I went to travel on my own everywhere, when I reached for big jobs that might have been a bit of a stretch, and he always encouraged me. And the other really important part of my education was to really strongly believe in the power of diversity. I was raised by a dad who was French and from a very left-wing intellectual family from Paris, and by my mother, who was from a very conservative Catholic family from Buffalo. And throughout my life and throughout my travels and working and living in different markets, I had a lot of experiences of being the other or be confronted to very different points of view. And when I was alone in a room as a woman throughout my career, I strongly believe that just coming with a different point of view and a different human experience brought value in itself, regardless of me as a person. And that has always given me the confidence to try to really get my voice heard in the room.
Fascinating. And amazing that that's been shaped by so many different experiences from Procter & Gamble to your father. Amazing. Given that, given it is International Women's Day, I'm going to ask you to give us one piece of advice to provocatively change, the gender equality in the industry today. What would be your one piece of advice?
I'm going to give you two, because there's one for me that's super simple and super straightforward, which is know how much money the men in the company are making and pass that information on to other women. When Cindy Gallup tells us, don't empower me, pay me, it's because once you get paid fairly, you actually have the power to change things. And I also believe in the words of Madeleine Albright when she says, there's a special place in hell for women who don't help other women in the workplace. I really think that if we don't pull ourselves together, towards a boardroom, it's just not going to happen. And my second piece of advice is don't just lean on the sisterhood, lean on the good guys as well. Find your allies. Find the ones who want to help. When I was in middle school, I was in an all-girls school, and I decided to change to an all-boys school in high school who were just accepting women for the first time. And the friendships with my classmates are friendships that have lasted a lifetime, and they've always coached me, mentored me, encouraged me, coming with a point of view of the men and the powers they had. And I think we don't ask for enough help from our allies as women. I think you need to use your words like in any good relationship with a man. You need to tell him how the microaggressions are making you feel. You need to explain why all those microaggressions are putting you in a situation where you're not contributing to the levels that you could for the company. And more importantly, you need to tell them how they can help. And a lot of them are willing to help and just don't know how bad it is and don't know how to help. And I think that's really something we're not leveraging enough as women in the workplace.
I think that's fascinating, and it as you say, it starts so early, it starts so young, doesn't it? I'm reminded of my daughter telling me she wanted to be a nurse, and I asked her why she didn't want to be a doctor, and she said because doctors are men, and she's 8. So there's still a lot to be done, but some brilliant advice there. 2 bits of advice for the price of 1 as well. So thank you. Thanks for your time and your valuable points of view, and happy International Women's Day.
Thanks, Alastair.
Thanks.